good customer of ours who I happen to think is a super cool guy was telling me about the 911 Turbo S he bought. And he said, I know it's an old man car, but I don't care. And I was like, oh, did the Turbo become uncool? To me, the Turbo has always been the king. When I was a kid, it was my dream car. The first Porsche I ever bought was a 997 Turbo. So I guess I never stopped to wonder if maybe it had lost its seat on the throne.
But maybe our collective obsession with Nürburgring lap times made the Turbo seem a little tame compared to the GT3 RS or even compared to the older cars.
Well, two of our coolest customers happened to buy identical Turbo S's and they brought them into the shop for upgrades. It was an opportunity to experience the modern Turbo in stock form and see if it had lost its mojo. And if so, can you apply a few tasteful mods to get it back?
Let's start by looking at the original 930, which is undeniably cool. We happen to have a beautiful 1977 Turbo in the shop. There are a couple things about it that stand out. Visually, it could not be more distinctive from a base Carrera. The rear fenders of the 930 make it more than 4 inches wider.
But with the 992, Porsche realized that everybody loves the wide body, so they just made all of them wide body. Now the Turbo is wider body, but the difference is subtle.
If you're not a Porsche expert, it's easy to confuse an Aero Kit Carrera T with a Turbo S that costs twice as much. And let's talk about driving dynamics. The calling card of the original Turbo is that it was dangerous. It only weighed 2,500 pounds, it had crazy boost lag, and if you chickened out mid-corner and lifted off the throttle, you were going ass first into a ditch. The new car weighs 1,000 pounds more, it has all-wheel drive, PDK, and every modern safety feature. The Widowmaker mythos wore off a long time ago.
If a Turbo was an order of chicken wings, the original would be death sauce. The new car is lemon pepper.
That's not to say the modern Turbo is bad. In fact, it's the opposite. We took Ryan's chalk gray 992.1 Turbo S out for a test drive before we started his project.
And I think it's because it's just too bottled up, it's too repressed. It's like if you bought a beautiful Belgian Malinois, right, to be your home defense dog, but then you make it wear this like cutesy sweater, like a Charlie Brown sweater. No. What we found, and these customers complained about, and pretty much every review about the car says, is that it is so refined that it becomes slightly bland.
It looks good, but it doesn't draw attention. You don't hear much from the exhaust. 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds is wild, but I think Tesla has taught us that bonkers acceleration doesn't stir the soul if it doesn't have a matching soundtrack.
I feel like if you're capable of doing that level of acceleration, the engine should be screaming at the top of its lungs when it does it, and frankly, I can barely hear this thing.
It's almost too good at being the ultimate daily driver, which is a silly thing to say, but for $250,000, I would expect some passion.
If you want to get some fire from this particular order of wings, you're going to have to supply your own hot sauce, and that's what we did.
We were ready to start Ryan's project. Like I said, he's a cool customer, former pro motorcycle racer, former owner of several Porsche GT cars, most recently a 992 GT3 with a manual transmission.
For a lot of us who love going to track days, a stick shift GT3 is a perfect car, but Ryan is pretty honest with himself about how a sports car fits into his lifestyle.
He wanted a fast, comfortable, capable daily driver, and that's exactly what the Turbo S was intended for. Ryan just wanted to kick it up a notch.
Even though it only had a few thousand miles on it, Ryan asked us to check the alignment.
Gabe found that the rear toe was slightly out of spec. Apparently, it's somewhat rare for these cars to arrive from the factory with perfect alignment. When you think of them tied down on a cargo ship crossing the Atlantic, you can imagine why. Gabe got it dialed in perfectly. That will ensure that the tires last as long as possible, which is to say not long at all considering they're transmitting 590 foot-pounds of torque to the pavement.
If I were to agree with the old man car sentiment, and I'm not saying that I do, a lot of it would be related to the looks.
This car has the factory Aero Kit, which helps a lot, but the wheels are a little fussy. Ryan wanted more of a modern motorsports look like you see on the GT cars, so he chose the BBS FIR Evo. The original FI came out in 2009 and was revolutionary as an ultra-lightweight forged monoblock aluminum wheel. BBS has been staying ahead of the copycats by releasing the FIR and now the Evo, which feature relief cuts on the spokes that save even more weight. Since these are center locks, you can't change your offsets by running wheel spacers, so the safe approach is to stick with the factory wheel specs, which is what we did. Ryan took a bit of a risk with the diamond black finish, but we think it's a great fit for the car.
Next up was the exhaust. This is pretty much a must-have on any modern Porsche, but especially the turbocharged cars.
Soul Performance makes this valved option for the 992 Turbo. With the valves, you can have your cake and eat it too. It's louder than stock in sport mode, but normal mode is quiet enough to carry a conversation on the highway. Soul uses a bespoke X-pipe muffler with perforated straight-through piping. That's supposed to minimize drone at lower RPM and accentuate the higher pitches whether the valves are open or closed. The result has a lot more character without going over the top in terms of volume. The car rides a little too high from the factory. We chose a set of H&R Sport lowering springs specifically designed for the 992 Turbo and Turbo S. The springs are stiffer than the factory setup and will drop it about 1.2 inches front and rear. This car has a front axle lift system, so that removes the only risk involved in lowering it. And the handling feels noticeably sportier thanks to the lower center of gravity and slightly stiffer springs.
The combination of wheels and lowering springs along with the factory aero kit option that came with this car results in what I think the modern turbo should look like.
Still understated compared to the GT3 RS, but sporty and a little sinister. And the exhaust gives it a sense of occasion when you put it in Sport Plus mode and start hustling the car. I would argue that this is how it should have come from the factory, and for a project like this, that's how you know you've succeeded.
Roughing it up a little bit without going too far.
Before we move on to the next project, I want to mention that Wolfpen isn't only about performance work on Porsches. We're here to service and repair your daily as well. BMW, Mercedes, Audi, we're happy to help with anything European. Go to wolfpen.com to schedule an appointment.
As I mentioned, we have another customer who bought a nearly identical turbo at exactly the same time, but George's goals were much more aggressive.
We kicked off George's project with a new exhaust.
Gabe says that the 992 is his favorite generation of 911 to work on because, as he puts it, once you peel the bumper off, everything is accessible.
Well, as he went to remove the spoiler, he found what we'll say is a less than stellar install job of some radar detector equipment. The installer may not have realized that the spoiler needs to come off for service, and he installed the wiring in a way that makes things really difficult.
The wiring wasn't very clean, and a hole was drilled in the body with RTV used as a makeshift grommet to prevent chafing.
You have to assume that the installer did not anticipate that his handiwork would be on YouTube, but this cost Gabe a lot of time, and here we are.
For the exhaust, George opted for FabSpeed's MaxFlow Valvetronic system. FabSpeed makes some pretty big performance claims with this part.
On the Turbo S, they say it picks up 60 horsepower, 54 pound-feet of torque, and sheds about 10 pounds. We found that it has a different tone compared to the Soul Performance offering and produces a bit more volume. Next up were the same H&R lowering springs that we used on Ryan's car.
And while we're looking at the install, let's talk about the big difference with this project. We're installing a Stage 1 tune from M Engineering.
Flashing the car is a pretty simple process and results in dyno gains of 114 wheel horsepower and 145 pound-feet of torque on 93 octane pump gas. Forge took the car home while we waited for his custom Forge line wheels to arrive. They make all of their wheels in the US, and they can be customized in terms of size and finish. George asked them for an aggressive fitment for the car in dark bronze.
When they arrived at the shop, we picked up the car from George's house, and that was my first opportunity to drive it with the Stage 1 tune.
Holy shit.
You ready?
I'm ready.
The car looked great with the new wheels, and it ran like a stuck pig.
George was happy with the car, but he wanted it louder and he wanted it faster, and we knew exactly what to do. Our partners at M Engineering offer a Stage 2 tune for this car, which is a free upgrade if you already have Stage 1. Stage 2 is where you really unlock the performance that Porsche left on the table.
Combined with a set of Soul Performance free-flowing cats, you get another 30 wheel horsepower and 17 pound-feet of torque. Now we're talking about 750 horsepower to the wheels with just a tune and some exhaust mods. And with that, we took the car out for a final test drive.
It's weird to me that it's gotten a reputation as like an old man car, but I think that's only because the GT cars have become so popular. The reality in America is that 100% of us would be happier with this as a daily driver. It just makes so much more sense. You do lose a little something at the track, which is why you should have both. But if you can only, to me, back in the old days, you really weren't gonna mod your 911 Turbo. It didn't seem like something that was on my radar, you know, as an enthusiast, the idea that you would need to do stuff. Not that people didn't, but now it does seem to me like, oh, well, if you're gonna spend 250 grand, 300 grand on a car, you might as well spend another 30 and make it an emotional driving experience. Just choosing the appropriate settings. I'm actually kind of scared. We'll do a little bit. Oh my God! Holy f***ing shit. I couldn't process fast enough. I'm showing over a G of acceleration. And it was completely drama-free. Completely drama-free. There was no loss of traction. People are like, oh, you couldn't possibly use it on the street. Well, yeah, you can.
Yeah, I mean.
Jesus Christ, dude. That time I glanced at the speedometer. Did you hear that?
That was awesome.
That's the sound of the space-time continuum being torn apart.
Great Scott.
I did not have that feeling driving the car in stock form. I mean, it clearly super fast, really impressive, but now you've got like a toy to play with. And the great thing is, like, if you want to, we'll just go back to normal mode, right?
Drive to church.
We've not done anything to harm normal driving mode. But then when you put it in Sport Plus, we've taken Sport Plus and we've said, like, let's push it to the level where now it's this visceral experience. Just instantly it turns into a total badass, but still a badass wearing a nice suit. George's car is transformed into an absolute animal. These things tip the scales at over 3,600 pounds, so an extra 150 horsepower takes it from civilized fast to barbarian fast. It turns out the Widowmaker was still lurking in there. We just needed to unbutton its collar and roll up its sleeves. I've talked to both of these guys about their cars since we wrapped up the projects, and they are ecstatic with the results. Ryan said that after owning a string of Porsches, he's finally found a car he can settle down with. That 930 in our shop has been with the same owner since 1981. Ryan said that's his goal, to pick an amazing car and stick with it. He said that if he gets the urge to trade his car in on something faster, the problem isn't with the car, it's with him. George is a different story. As I said, he knows what he wants, and while he's happy, he's not quite satisfied. There are a few tweaks he wants to make. Well, I say tweaks, they might turn out to be big changes. So stay tuned. Is the modern turbo an old man car? Well, absolutely. If your back and your knees can handle getting in and out of it, you can enjoy it well into old age. But it is so much more than that. It's a car you can drive every day. It is a savage beast in a three-piece suit. You can go from tame to wild just by turning the drive mode dial on the steering wheel. The Turbo is still Porsche's ultimate street car, and it's probably the best car I've ever driven.